As far as delegates go, this might turn out to be a wash. In fact, it looks like Hillary Clinton might have won Louisiana with more delegates than Kansas and Nebraska combined when all is said and done. But what does this mean for momentum going forward for Democrats?
For Democrats, this is a big surge of momentum for Bernie Sanders, a much-needed surge of momentum for Senator Sanders. After losses in Nevada and South Carolina, it was clear that Senator Sanders needed some kind of boost heading into Michigan. If he would have lost maybe 2 out of 3 tonight, it would have been a major problem going forward for him, because he desperately needs a win in Michigan and a win in Ohio.
On the Republican side, as of 9:50, I have Trump with 347, Cruz 267, Rubio 116, Kasich 28. Still to come tonight, we have Kentucky and Louisiana. Has the Republican race been turned upside down? Have they managed to stop Donald Trump?
Actually, they haven't managed to stop Donald Trump just yet. But what they have managed to do is figure out, I think, a way to slow him down. I think the attacks, the coordinated attacks, have been very, 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 very effective. Rubio, as has been discussed often this evening, Rubio might be our fall guy here. Rubio might have actually ruined his own campaign even more with the childish, petty attacks on Trump. By staying away from the childish, petty attacks, both at the debate and on the campaign trail, it obviously has benefited Ted Cruz. Cruz, for everybody thinking that he's just some religious wingnut idiot, which he isn't, he's an Ivy League educated attorney who's clerked for a Supreme Court justice. He's a very intelligent man, and he's a very savvy campaigner. Cruz actually knew that if he would stay out of the fray, he hugged Donald Trump early, and then he punched him a little bit and attacked him, and then when Rubio started getting aggressive on Trump, Cruz stepped back and let that car wreck happen. And it seems like he really benefited tonight.
What's strange is that the Republican establishment continues to see Rubio. Of course, they hate Ted Cruz, but they continue to see Rubio as their savior, and it's really turning out to be another bad bet on their part. In fact, tonight they're sort of, I saw one of them hoping that maybe Romney would get back in the race. It's just, they keep betting on the wrong horse, and it seemed clear to me that Marco Rubio wasn't up for this. He was never going to be up for this. He's just not a strong person who can campaign effectively. He has pretty much zero charisma. So how likely is it that Ted Cruz can win?
Straight up win, or win at the convention?
Let's say straight up, because that's what everybody's, you're hearing a lot of that right now because of the way the results are going tonight. I mean, we know that Cruz is going to be hoping that Rubio wins Florida, right, and Kasich wins Ohio. But he still doesn't seem to have enough delegates on his own. There's just going to be this fractured party.
There's going to be this brokered convention. And that's right now what the Republican Party wants. They see that as their only shot of stopping Cruz, stopping Trump, is to broker the convention. Yeah, you're right. Kasich has to win Ohio. Rubio has to win Florida. Or somebody who isn't Trump has to win Florida. But I really wonder if they get this broker convention, are they just sealing their fate no matter who they nominate in November? What if they completely blow up the entire party at this convention in a wild fight?
Yeah, and I mean, you're hearing some talk tonight that they are hoping Kasich might come forward. In my mind, he is the strongest. I'm not saying he can campaign well. I haven't seen that, but he doesn't come off as crazy. That's the bonus with him. He doesn't seem like an extremist, even though he is actually. If you look at his policies, he's certainly not a moderate Republican as what we used to think of moderate Republicans as being people who are civic minded and all of that. I think he has got a little bit of that, but he's anti-union and anti-women, so he has the same kind of branding. He just comes off better.
boy, do they want John Kasich on the ticket because they want Ohio.
Yeah.
Every scenario you can possibly think of right now, the Republicans are running in their heads, involves John Kasich on the ticket somewhere, which I think explains why he's in this election for two reasons: to win Ohio and to be on the ticket in November.
I just can't see. I can see Ted Cruz picking him, possibly, but he's just not conservative enough for Ted Cruz's crowd at all. A lot of Republicans think Donald Trump is going to pick him. I don't see Trump doing that. Trump has too much of an ego for that. I think he's going to, he just picks mirrors and kind of people who are buffoons and people who are easily manipulated.
I mean, we've heard this before, and I think it's actually true. I think the only one Trump could actually pick to the ones that's still running is Ted Cruz. I think that if Trump needed as I said earlier on some of the coverage, if Trump needed the delegates, Cruz has no morals. So Cruz would easily throw his lot in with Trump to get on the ticket.
Cruz, the religious, he's the one that kind of stands for the evangelical base, and he has no morals.
He's run the dirtiest campaign on the Republican side by far.
Well, that's how he's conducted himself in office.
He has absolutely no morals whatsoever politically. He would throw his lot behind Trump in seconds if he thought it would get him the ticket or one step closer to the White House. So,
God, that's a gross ticket, isn't it?
Think
of the visual of that. It's just, it's repulsive.
Remember how bad the Romney-Ryan ticket was?
They're trying to get Romney to run.
Or Ryan.
I mean, Ryan now. Yes, well, both of them, but it's also Paul Ryan. I don't understand it. Are you going to keep banging your head against the same brick wall? What are these people thinking?
Do you remember how they bashed Romney and Ryan in 2012, and now they look at them like, oh my God,
please
if we only had those guys.
Please come back.
They hated those guys.
Yeah, they did.
They
said they were losers.
They tore that ticket apart from the time it was put together. Now on the Democratic side, I know we've been hearing, Hillary Bernie or Hillary Warren. But we both don't think there's really any chance of that happening.
I think that would be very challenging. I would love to see that ticket, but I think that it's very difficult to put two women on a ticket, just like President Obama couldn't have picked another minority. It's just, I know that's terrible to say. That's the state of this country, though. You're already seeing tonight, we heard, I just wrote something about this, but Chris Matthews and his little...
John Halleman and Mark Halperin.
Yeah, panel of three men were criticizing the way Hillary Clinton was speaking, how she speaks in front of a microphone to a crowd, which is one of the everybody who studied sexism in politics and sexism in the workplace all knows that's you don't discuss a woman's tone. That's just clearly sexist, and it's often strident, quote, shrill. And they avoided saying those words, but they kind of hung there in the air like they went around them. She just needs to speak more softly, like she does in an interview. It's like it was so obvious, and it just sat there. It's like, are we really? What, are people this clueless? You don't even know not to say that? I mean, are we going to talk about her hair next? What's going on? I'm not looking forward to that. So just imagine if we had two women on the ticket.
I feel like we've kind of given a short shift to the Democrats here in this show, a little tiny bit. So for Hillary Clinton, let's just sum up by saying this was business as usual for Hillary Clinton.
I thought she was great tonight.
She won in Louisiana. She got oodles of African-American voters. The Obama coalition is firmly more and more in Clinton's camp, except for the younger voters if you look at the data so far. But I think we need to see more states on that as the race plays out. I think this was really, it's not a bad night for her, but I think that the momentum heading into Michigan, because this is all about Michigan. Both campaigns are heavily in Michigan. And we have the debate in Flint tomorrow night, which Politicus USA, our podcast, will be back before the debate with a debate pre-show. And maybe if we feel like everything's going well, we'll be back after the debate and talk some more. But
I'm excited about this because Michigan is my home state, and I know Flint and Detroit very well, and I'm excited to see the Democrats come and talk about these issues. Not just Flint, but how these decisions are impacting many of the poorer cities in Michigan.
Yeah, I think that's going to be really exciting, and I think you need to look at kind of Super Saturday as is this going to impact Michigan, the election in Michigan on Tuesday in any way? And, maybe it gives Bernie's people some more spring in their step. Hillary Clinton's up by a lot, an average of 17.7 points in Michigan. So, and, we're getting to the point in the race where Bernie Sanders has to start winning these big states. He can't lose them. Because he's simply, eventually the delegate lead is going to get to be too much in 2 weeks or a month or whatever. It's going to be a very, very exciting Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, especially this Flint debate, which was just simply genius and I think so needed.
And honestly, let's just, when we close out the show, let's acknowledge that Democrats are in such a good place. They have two really strong candidates at the base. Most of the base really like both of them. I'm not going to talk about some of the talking points that have been dropped in that are being used against, either of them. Let's just leave that alone. But I think that they're both good choices, and Democrats are in a strong position. They need to be careful to not hit the other candidate so hard that somebody comes out of this bruised, because that's where Democrats really have a lot behind them. And look what's going on over at the Republicans. They're a mess right now. Take advantage of that, Democrats. Don't lose this by, petty infighting and focusing on things that aren't the big picture. Love your candidate, definitely go out and vote for your candidate. But then when the candidate is picked, when the primary is over, everybody needs to get behind that candidate.
In other words, friends don't let friends act like Republicans.
Right, friends don't not vote, and thus let a Republican come into the White House and do what Governor Snyder did in Michigan, and what we already saw George W. Bush, and they're very similar, do, with Katrina and obviously in other...
that's just not simply going to happen. I mean, the Republicans would be lucky to get out of the road primary with a nominee in one piece at this rate.
Well, I'm concerned, honestly, though, if John Kasich pulled this out somehow, and I know it doesn't look likely, but I know they're pushing for him, and they cheat all the time. The way that Hillary Clinton is being battered, I would be concerned, because they have made that to be like an equivalency, and then they call Bernie Sanders a socialist. So I do think that could be a fight if they manage to pull that out of the bag. Now, I don't know if they could get anyone to come out and vote for John Kasich, because nobody seems excited about him, so that could be a down for them. But he could put some crazy, on the ticket with him, Ben Carson, and boom.
The whole Kasich thing will be destroyed if Trump wins Ohio. There'll be no rationale for Kasich to be anywhere near the ticket.
Is that even possible, do you think? I mean...
Trump is leading in Ohio in some polls.
Is he really?
Yes.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's very possible. And, Ohio and Florida go at the same time. So if Trump has a good this Tuesday, it's very, very possible that the next week the dominoes could fall for him, which is why Republicans are just running around like chickens with their heads cut off, trying to stop him right now.
Well, best of luck to them. And Sig Heil, apparently that's what he likes to do at his rallies. He did it today. He didn't use those words, but he,
had his audience.
Everybody raised their right hand.
Hitler-esque maneuver.
Yeah.
To vote for him.
Yeah, and the visual is like all the hands are up, and they're up. And not totally straight up like you would raise your hand in class, but like forward the way they were in the Hitler rallies. And the picture is from behind, so it's just all these people with their hands forward. I mean, it's actually perfect for him. That's exactly what he's doing. But anyway,
he just needs to dress his security in brown shirts, and then.
Well, that would be too obvious, because then everybody could,
pledges with right hands firmly raised in
pledge to me, direction. Die or pledge. That's it. Yes. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing all of the results coming up in Michigan. That's in the Michigan debate. That's going to be very exciting. So we will talk to you all then, and hope you tune back in to hear our thoughts on that. Thanks for joining us this evening. This is Sarah Jones with Jason Easley at Politicus USA.